Okay, if I grab the screen. Oh, hang on, no, I need to sort out my.
And while Andrew's doing that, I had a question, which you may have covered already, and I apologize if you did. But what got you interested in this topic, Serbi?
That's really good question. It started with that, like, I am, so we have, obviously we environmental issues, right? Or what's going on currently globally, it concerns us as a human, and what we are leaving for our kids, that even like concerns me a lot. So we have Nest, which gives us that our, like how we are using our heating and air conditioning. Then we have couple of other devices, but I'm not able to see as a family if we have these 15 devices in my house collecting too much telemetry data. But as a family, are we like a carbon free or the zero carbon emission family? Who is, because I feel the change starts from from a home, from a unit level. If every home start making sure that you are becoming like a zero carbon emission family, then the next home, then the township, and then the state, and then the next and next. So I was trying to understand that piece, and that time this and that is what actually is still in making, right? Because my kids are not nerdy side, so they're different. So like even I wanted them to engage, but they're like, no, it's your thing. So that is how I started collecting the data from couple of devices, but I wanted to see the full picture. And then I started looking around, and then this Microsoft Learn came. It is in 2021. I used couple of those things, then this, and then some of the college kids I met them, and some of the guys who are doing IoT business. But all in all, nobody was giving the full picture about all these things. So I said, okay, let's start just going into like deeper dive, and like maybe and this is just the tip of the iceberg kind of thing, because the one, if I really reach to that device which I'm trying to make, that would be I would write more, and everything is going to be Azure SQL database, because that's as a database site, it is my now you feel comfortable with. Yeah, so that is how journey started, and it is still going on, but it just made you interested, and it's like a sidey project, but became like a big thing now, because I feel very driven to finish this thing.
Very cool. Thank you.
Okay.
It was exciting to see it here too, because I've always wished there'd be more IoT sessions at data conferences, because as you mentioned, like any kind of sensor like this, like all this stuff generates tons of data. So it's a very data relevant session. But yeah, there just aren't that many. So I was thrilled to see it here, and it was great. Yeah, really nice job.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, everyone, for everyone who's joined, please do leave feedback for Serbi and us as a conference. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, so we can make this event better. The link is there on the slide there, 8kb.online/feedback. And then we'll be getting going in about 10 minutes with the next session with Josephine and her session. So we're just going to wait for now until that gets started. How's everyone doing? Everyone's mind's melted enough? We've had 3 very good sessions so far. We've got 2 more to go in this conference this year.
Well, back to the point that Matt was making just a second ago, very relevant session of the last one, right? 50%, I think, of the data growth that's going out there or more is going into this IoT data that we're starting to collect. So something that we really need to think about, in our data professional careers.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the last IoT talk I've even seen, and I think it was, I'm not going to try to butcher his last name, but Drew. I can never remember his last name. Apologize. He had a talk on what the heck was it? It was basically sending up a SQL server in a weather balloon.
I remember that.
Yeah, collecting telemetry data and stuff. But beyond that, I can't recall any others that I've attended. So yeah, this was a good welcome change.
So that was actually a perfect segue into a question that came in while we were chatting. It says, what is the difference between telemetry and logging? Goodness, can't talk today.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think they're kind of the same thing, aren't they? If you think about it, I mean, telemetry data is a lot of like logging information basically about whatever that sensor is collecting or what you're doing. I think of it as log data. But I think it usually, where I think it's kind of interesting, and Anthony and I talk about this sometimes, is that people think of telemetry data as one thing, IoT data is one thing, and stateful data as something else, like your relational data. And I think a lot of times, in order to get good insights into your telemetry data, you're bumping it up against your relational data.
Yeah. I mean, the way I kind of look at it from a racing perspective, because that's where my mind spends about as much time as it can, is telemetry is what the car is telling you right then. Like, hey, I have a tire going flat. I have an engine issue. All of that data is being logged for analysis later. So for me, logging is almost, or should almost always be the end result of what it's telling you real time. But yeah, that's an interesting point you made about states and stuff.
My answer to that question would be that logging is a type of telemetry, but there is telemetry that has nothing at all to do with logging. That telemetry is a larger umbrella, and logging is a piece of that.
That makes sense too.
I could see that.
Not going to.
So the committee agrees we're good. That's okay.
There's a fair amount of chat in Slack as well. I won't try to read all of it off, but that has kicked off a bit of a discussion there.
Well, let them know I just answered it and they're done.
Man, we're supposed to foster conversation.
Well, you want to hear my funny ones that I keep hearing? I'm like, I want to know who the marketing people for Postgres are, because I keep hearing Postgres referred to as the modern database. And I'm like, it was invented in 1974. I don't know.
They probably leave that out of the marketing.
Do you mean Microsoft managed Postgres or just Postgres in general?
Postgres was invented in 1974.
No. I mean the marketing people.
Oh, no. Just Postgres in general. Postgres.
Oh, yeah. I can't help you with that. Okay.
Yeah. Does a really good job as like marketing themselves as the modern database.
I feel like that means, like when somebody declares themselves cool or has to say that they're an ally. It's one of those things that you shouldn't have to qualify. It should just naturally follow.
Yeah.
That's true about that ally part.
I feel like that kind of falls under, you can't give yourself a nickname, right? Like everybody should start calling me whatever.
T-Bone.
Right. That has to be a natural thing. You can't just say our database is the most modern one. See, that's a nickname that I didn't make up. So it's a real nickname.
So, shout out to Chrissy Lemaire that we call you Mark, the guy in the lower left.
Great nickname example.
And Chrissy was definitely listening. I definitely had YouTube on earlier. So, hey, Chrissy.
Hey, if you're talking, turn your cameras on. We're in the break. Come on.
Yeah, yes, boss. I have my camera on.
Boss of me.
So we've got about 6 minutes to go until the next session, which is Josephine's session on migrate SQL Server to Azure MI without getting a migraine. So we've got Angela here moderating. Hi, Angela. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Hello.
Hello.
So I have a question. I have a question that Josephine can probably answer at some point. Am I supposed to not get a migraine from the session, or should I be able to migrate to SQL without a migraine?
Hopefully,
Azure is an Azure SQL MI. We talked about this. It's the title, Azure SQL MI.
Yes, it's migrating to Azure MI without the migraine.
So weird for a Microsoft service to have a slightly confusing name.
Yeah.
It's definitely first time.
Or have it for so long.
Microsoft never reuses names or acronyms. They're all.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
We're
think
great at naming things. I don't know if you know, there's an
BBC
event
was-
going on this
yeah.
week We're great at naming things.
What did you say, Anthony?
Frank disagrees with you in Slack.
Frank disagrees with me about everything.
Just saying. I mean, I agree with Frank, so you know.
So for those of you who aren't seeing the timing, I said Frank disagrees with me about everything, and Frank responded, also not true.
Well played.
Right?
So if you're hearing the background noise of an angry cat, my oldest cat has decided that it's lunchtime and is standing next to me, meowing loudly. So if you're not hearing that, yay headset. If you are, sorry.
Your headset's doing a great job.
Yeah, not hearing anything.
Fantastic.
Yay headset.
Moose was snoring so loudly yesterday that I got the giggles during a meeting.
No, that's before I got this headset. I used to have one, and she would kind of be up to these same tricks. And my team at my former job would, if I was talking a lot, they would stop me and be like, "Matt, your cat's hungry. Please go feed her. We'll wait," because it was very notable. Meow. Yeah.
So Brett says in the chat, migraines can be directly correlated with the number of end users involved in a specific process. I would expand that to say the number of developers who were involved in the code you've been asked to deploy.
The number of people in the meeting talking about what the process should be.
Okay, hello, Josephine.
Kanban. It's got to have, you know. There's
For
Josephine.
Agile. It's good.
Hi.
Hi there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and you can take control.
Hey, Josephine, I'm Angela.
Hey.
I am your moderator. So just asking really quick how you want to handle timings and questions and all that kind of stuff.
So I have some slides that I have a sort of like a pause in different places. So I can just take questions at those points.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect.
Thank you.
No problem. And do you want any kind of warning, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to go, anything like that?
Yeah, sure. That'd be good.
Okay. And your session is 60 minutes.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Cool. Okay, can you see that screen? It's just like swirls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Red and vibrant.
Okay. It's going to not just be swirls. That used to look at swirls for an hour. We're just going to stare at the swirls for an hour and hope you don't get a migraine. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so now you see my slide, right?